The fight for the crown on Raw continues. Let's see how this tournament is shaping up and what to look forward to. This is AM Talks WWE. Let's talk Monday Night Raw. Let's go over the match outcomes. In the first match, Io Sky defeats Shayna Baszler to advance in Queen of the Ring. In the second match, Gunther defeats Kofi Kingston to advance in King of the Ring. In our third match, Bronson Reed defeats Akira Tozawa in a quick match. In the fourth match, Lyra Valkyria defeats Zoe Stark to advance in Queen of the Ring. In the fifth match, Sami Zayn defeats Otis while frustrating Chad Gable even more. In our sixth match, Women's World Champion Becky Lynch defeats Dakota Kai via DQ when Damage Control interferes. In our seventh match, Judgment Day defeats New Catch Republic, Authors of Pain, and Creed Brothers to face the World Tag Team Champions, Awesome Truth. In the main event of Monday Night Raw, Jey Uso defeats Ilya Dragunov to advance in King of the Ring. Yeet! Now let's mention some of the notable moments. Here is Drew McIntyre to get things going. The fans chant for CM Punk, but McIntyre talks about how Punk only makes the big towns. The greatest trick that Punk ever pulled was looking like a drug addict despite never taking any drugs. Punk keeps messing with the fans, but they keep taking him back. McIntyre is going to get his hands on him one day, and he'll beat Punk so bad that Punk will wish that he had torn his tricep again. In other news, Jey Uso lost another match, so McIntyre will deal with him later. For now, McIntyre wants the World Heavyweight Championship, and here is Damian Priest to interrupt. Priest says if McIntyre has something to say it to his face. McIntyre praises Priest for his success, but he doesn't deserve to be champion. The title has made the man, but now the title needs McIntyre. Damian Priest calls McIntyre delusional and accuses him of blaming everyone else for his troubles. The reality is, Priest wanted to cash in on Seth Rollins, and then they could have gone at it at WrestleMania. But who stopped Priest from cashing in so many times? It was McIntyre. All he had to do was have his WrestleMania moment, take his wife by the hand, and then go about business. Instead, he got beaten up by a guy with one arm. If McIntyre wants a title shot, he can have one, but he better be ready to eat his words. That's a match that needs to happen, and this exchange was a good way to get us there. Damian Priest letting him know who is the current World Heavyweight Champion. Backstage, we see Damian Priest with the Judgment Day, and we see Carlito. Carlito says the team could use some help with all of the injuries. Priest is fine with him helping the boys, but not him. Carlito says, "You don't trust me?" Priest says, "Nope." Chad Gable doesn't like what the Alpha Academy has been doing lately, but Otis has a chance to redeem himself against Sami Zayn. Akira Tozawa is facing Bronson Reed, but Gable does not want to see that dance. The men leave, and Ivy Nile comes in to ask why Maxine Dupree didn't ask for help in training for the Queen of the Ring. Apparently, Gable says no training outside of the academy. Gable advises Nile to stop talking to Taylor Not So Swift, referring to Maxine. In the ring, we see former WWE ring announcer legend Lillian Garcia to introduce the competitors of the match. We look at Liv Morgan challenging Women's World Champion Becky Lynch for a title match. Lynch accepts, but then Lyra Valkyria had to save Lynch from Damage Control. Valkyria says she has Lynch's back anytime, with Lynch popping in to thank her. Now with Lynch gone, Morgan comes in to ask if Lynch has always been like this in a very insulting manner. Valkyria says, "Ask yourself," with Lynch returning to shove Morgan down. Lynch says she isn't the one scared of a face-to-face fight. Kofi Kingston is walking through backstage when Karrion Kross pops in to say there's always more time. Kross leaves, and Xavier Woods shows up with some ice for Kingston, who isn't sure what Kross wanted. We also see Ludwig Kaiser not being happy with Gunther being interrupted with annoying questions. Gunther leaves and Kaiser is asked about Gunther's loss to Ilya Dragunov and the interference that cost Jey Uso his match against Gunther. Kaiser talks about Gunther's accomplishments and says he has nothing to prove. As for Sheamus, he was delusional for thinking he can beat Gunther. Sheamus has never beaten Gunther despite a legendary career, and it is never going to happen. In reality, Sheamus should be right here, thanking Kaiser for last week. This is the most fired up we've seen Kaiser. Raw GM Adam Pearce has an announcement about the Raw Tag Team titles when New Catch Republic comes in to interrupt. Pearce gives them a welcome to the show, but Pete Dunne grabs Tyler Bates' arm and leaves. Pearce's announcement is a fatal four-way for the #1 contendership to the World Tag Team titles. With that out of the way, Pearce is asked why Braun Breaker wasn't in the King of the Ring. Breaker doesn't have that kind of experience yet, but here is Breaker to say his opponents would have been the ones in the deep end. Pat McAfee barking on commentary. Yes, barking after the Braun Breaker segment. Chad Gable insults Otis and blames him for everything in front of the crowd. World Heavyweight Champion Damian Priest is asking Dominic Mysterio if he and Rhea Ripley are good, but the rest of the team and Carlito arrive. Priest tells Carlito that was cool, but make sure that Carlito can handle his business with Rey Mysterio. Overall, the segments on the show told what it needed to tell us, and the show had solid in-ring work. But then again, me asking myself as a fan that for some of these superstars in the tournament, it is too soon. And this tournament is lacking that depth. We know WWE is going to be very specific with this tournament, and I guess we'll have to see how this plays out into the PLE on May 25th. I guess we'll find out. This is AM Talks WWE. Thanks for tuning in.